I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
Were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect for a Secret Service member that died on 9/11.
Oh, that you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
and you are out of line.
I am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are playing politics.
I am a public servant who has served this nation, and
you won't answer the question.
On our country's darkest day.
Committee will come to order. Committee will come to order.
I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that day?
No, I wasn't. I was there representing the United States Secret Service, sir.
Mr. Fallon, your time's expired.
Did not affect protective operations.
You know why you were there? Because you wanted to be visible, because you are auditioning for this job.
I was there to pay respect for a fallen member of this agency.
Wow. Wow. I thought it was even beneath MAGA to try to use 9/11 for political purposes and try to steal the valor of somebody like the acting Secret Service chief, Ronald Rowe, and his valor at 9/11 and climbing through and clawing through the piles of dead people's ashes who were murdered on 9/11. But nothing is beneath, apparently, nothing is beneath somebody like Pat Fallon and MAGA, who for political purposes will try to steal somebody's valor when they're supposed to be using this time in a bipartisan way to look into what happened at Butler, Pennsylvania against Donald Trump and make sure it never happens again. They're supposed to be focused on the failings of the Secret Service, not taking pot shots at the guy who was there to honor the fallen on 9/11. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the Legal AF YouTube channel. Take a minute, hit the blue subscribe button. I'm at the intersection of law, politics, and disgusting politicization of 9/11. Now, you just saw what happened. Let me tell you how we got here. There's a bipartisan committee that is in the 118th Congress. It's not even in the MAGA Congress yet. It's mainly MAGA Congress. And they called the acting director. He wasn't even the guy on that day, but he's been in protective services. He's been in the Secret Service for over 30 years. And so he happened to have also been on the pile on Ground Zero, tearing through it, looking for any survivors. We now know there weren't any. He was just tearing with his own hands through human remains. And so he took offense, and rightly so, that somebody on the other side of the aisle, the Republicans, would say, you're just trying out for your job when you went on 9/11 this year to the memorial to honor. You weren't there to honor. You were there for a tryout. How is that at all relevant to a bipartisan investigation of what happened at Butler? He wasn't in charge of the Secret Service the day that happened. That woman is long gone. He's there to talk about the failings of the Secret Service and how it can be improved from an oversight committee standpoint in the House, not to have his personal character and ethics undermined or kicked in the balls by a Republican congressperson who just wants to get on television or have that shouting match so he can high five his staffers in his office after he's done trying to humiliate a person who's been a civil servant, who's protected our nation and protected those that have been in his service. There are people in the Secret Service who died on 9/11. There are people in the Secret Service who died after 9/11 because of 9/11. And he was there to honor them as the acting director of the Secret Service. Who out there, put it in comments, who out there thinks it's inappropriate for the acting director of the Secret Service to attend along with all the other dignitaries, former Mayor Bloomberg, J.D. Vance, Trump, Kamala Harris, how soon we forget, Kamala Harris and the rest. And all this guy wanted to do is try to score cheap, disgusting political points. Well, if you were there, where was the agent in charge? How would he be able to protect? Were you there with a walkie-talkie and a vest? You put these lives at risk because you were in the photo. Really? That's his argument? That he doesn't like the security detail and the security planning around 9/11? I've been there. I've been there on 9/11. Okay? I worked for an organization that lost 658 people on 9/11. I came in after, of course. I worked for the guy who lost 300 people. His entire legal and compliance team died in minutes, in one day, okay, within an hour of each other. So I get it, okay? And I get hot when somebody who's a hero, who's just doing his civic duty to pay respect, on 9/11 with the families. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this on television or been there yourself. I mean, when they're reading out the almost 3,000 people's names one at a time, boom, and they ring that bell, that fire department bell. I mean, you'd have to be a robot or an animal not to respond, not to shed a tear. But you're not supposed to use it for cheap political points. Oh, you're there. And the guy said, first of all, the agent in charge who's part of planning, he was just off site. He was just off the camera edge, right? The camera was relatively narrow. He was there in a proper position. I didn't push the head of the security detail out of position because I wanted a photo op for my tryout. Everybody knows Donald Trump's going to replace the head of the Secret Service. You think he trusts anybody in there after what happened to him at the Butler farm? No. So I don't think this guy was trying out for anything. I think he was doing his civic duty. Somebody's got to be the acting director of the Secret Service, right? Somebody had to be the captain of the Titanic. And that's what this guy volunteered for. So they're going to excoriate him and undermine him and kick him in the balls because he had the temerity to go and honor the fallen on 9/11. I thought this was the party. Let's just all get along. I just read with disgust Donald Trump's soon-to-be Solicitor General, John Sauer, write a letter to the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, demanding that she dismiss the $450 million judgment she obtained on behalf of the people of the state of New York, citing to Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and George Washington, that we should all join hands for the good of the nation. And Donald Trump is calling for unity. This is unity? Well, then this congressperson didn't get the memo. And I love that moment of power imbalance where you had the solemn grace, the solemn courage of a real hero in Ronald Rowe, the acting security detail, who let go and let loose with the invective about being challenged for his credentials as a patriot by this petty congressperson, Pat Fallon, who had to say, I'm an elected representative. Yeah, that hasn't done crap since you've been in office, that hasn't gotten anything passed, that won't get anything passed. And now you're up in front of a real hero. And instead of sitting there and soberly talking about how to fix the security problem for the future, you thought this was a good time to try to steal somebody's valor. It's a disgusting result. This is what MAGA does. We're going to continue to watch it right here on the Midas Touch Network and on Legal AF. Listen, take a minute, a second. If you can't see why you have to be here with us, I don't know what else I can do. We need your help to grow this pro-democracy channel. Hit the free subscribe button. It's blue, just like my microphone pop filter. And I'll continue to follow all these things right here at the intersection of law and politics. We got a show called Legal AF, a podcast every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Midas Touch Network. We bring it over here. You get a view of it here. I got a show myself, Popok Live, Tuesday nights on the Midas Touch Network, Eastern Time. I sit at the intersection of law and politics. I don't blow smoke or sunshine, and I bring it to you this way, straight, right? So that you have the facts that you need to make your decisions about major issues that impact your life. And until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.